Okay.
Welcome to Cedar Lanes for the bracket finals of the Pureit Pro Shop Tournament, sponsored by the Fraternal Order of Eagles, Chapter 472. I am Dylan Bauer, joined by Daryl Bauer, and we are down to the final 8 bowlers.
Yes, Dylan, 229 entries in this tournament run by Pureit Pro Shop operator Jeff Smith, made up of 3 qualifying squads on Saturday, plus a Desperado squad on Sunday. 8 bowlers from each Saturday squad, plus 3 from the Desperado, advance to the first round of the bracket finals, with the overall leader, Bobby Benting, receiving byes in the first 2 rounds, and John Fury, the leader of the second squad, and Joe Ciccone, the leader of the third squad, receiving a bye in the first round.
So we're down to the quarterfinals, with one of the remaining 8 bowlers taking home the $2,000 first place prize.
And our featured match for this round is going to be Joe Ciccone, the number 2 seed, against Jolie Carrillo, the number 17 seed.
Let's take a look at some of the other matches that will be in progress as well.
Yep, we have Bobby Benton, the number 1 seed. He received 2 rounds of bye. This is going to be his first post-qualifying squad since he got those 2 squads of a bye, against number 18 seed Adam Bear. And then number 3 seed John Fury will go against number 9 seed Steve Pavlenko Jr. And our number 7 seed, Matt Taylor, will go against number 8 seed, Matt O'Grady. After this round of the 2-game match, with total pinfall determining the winner who will advance, we'll be down to the top 4 bowlers.
"30 seconds left of practice before competition begins for the quarterfinals. Again, today's tournament brought to you by Pureit Pro Shops, taking place at Cedar Lanes here in Lebanon, PA.
Joe Ciccone defeated Tina Fauble in the last round to advance. And Jolie Carrillo defeated Scott Denlinger.
Ciccone will go first here against Carrillo. Pocket strike for Joe Ciccone to start off the quarterfinals. Jolie Carrillo up for the first time. Leaves the 10-pin. Out of Matawan, New Jersey.
Yep, Jolie qualified off the 3rd qualifying squad on Saturday. She averaged 204 to advance from that squad. And she comes in with the 17th place seed.
She'll convert the 10-pin.
Jolie was the 2012 NCAA National Champion. She's a 4-time All-American.
First strike for Carrillo. Ciccone, a double to start off the quarterfinals.
And bowlers are bowling on the 2009 ETBF EMC long pattern. It's a 44-foot pattern with about a 2-to-1 ratio as far as the inside oil to outside. A very challenging pattern. Joe averaged 231 for his qualifying to lead his squad. Again, the top 8 from each of the 3 Saturday qualifying squads advanced, plus the 3 from the Desperado. And bowlers could re-enter the tournament, so if they were already in, it would drop down to the next bowler in line, but they would still get a cash spot in the tournament or on that squad.
Ciccone didn't like that one when he left to go.
Yep, fortunate just to leave the 4-pin.
Taking a quick look at the other scores. Bobby Benton versus Adam Bear. Benton spare to start off. Now an 8 count. Bear strikes spare for that one.
Ooh, and Joe Ciccone just nips the 4-pin.
Again, this is 2-match. Total pinfall moves on to the round of 4.
And Jolie was just one of 3 women that advanced from match play. Also Tina Falbo advanced, as well as Carrie Smith.
Carrillo leaves the 4-9 split.
Well, she'll have to hit the 4-pin similar to how Joe Ciccone hit it, except just a little heavier to slide it over to the 9.
Carrillo with the open 48 through 3 frames. Not a good shot, but a good result for Carrillo on the left side.
Looks like the elbow came out just a little bit for Jolie on that shot. Fortunately, the whole right side fell out.
Ciccone out of Buffalo, New York.
He attended Erie Community College in Arizona State.
Two-time College Bowler of the Year as well.
Joe's been a PBA member for 15 years with 16 regional titles. He has no national titles, but he does have 2 seconds, as well as being a 2000 PBA Rookie of the Year. One of Joe's titles was the Players' Championship, I believe. Being the Regional Players' Championship. Comes high again on lane 5. This time converts much heavier on the 4-pin this time.
John Fury versus Steve Pavlenko Jr. Pavlenko 2 spares to start off, followed by 2 strikes. Fury a strike, 2 opens, and a strike for him. So currently Pavlenko leaves in that one.
And a shout out to Steve Pavlenko Sr., Steven's dad. Steve's a good friend with 7 PBA regional titles. And Steve helped me this past year at the U.S. Senior Masters event that was held out in Las Vegas. Watched me and helped me line up and gave me tips throughout qualifying. So I'd like to thank Steve's dad for that. Steve also has a brother Jason that's attending Martin Methodist College, as he's starting to take a commanding lead over John Fury. John Fury's the number 3 seed. Led his qualifying squad with a 226 average.
Carrillo was working off a double. Now leaves a 10-pin. Carrillo makes the 10-pin.
Joe Ciccone can go up 12 pins with a strike here. Kind of an unusual pin action with that, almost like a pocket hit where the 6-pin slaps out the 10, but the 5 didn't go over, take out the 7.
Ciccone back-to-back spares. Again, round of 8 at the Pure Pro Shop. We're here at Cedar Lanes, Lebanon. First place guaranteed $2,000 to the winner. Joe Ciccone versus Jolie Carrillo.
And Joe trusted that one a little bit more on the left lane that time. After coming up high, there was previous 2 shots on lane 5. Jolie leaves another 10 pin. And to the right of us, John Fury starting to get on track. Just threw a double, strike in the 6th, strike in the 7th. Ooh.
Go as the second open of the match for Carrillo. Down Matt Taylor versus Matt O'Grady. Currently O'Grady with a 17-point lead.
After leaving a couple half pocket 10s, Jolie kept that one in tighter, leaving the 4 pin this time.
Carrillo struggled in the last 3 frames to get a strike.
She easily converts. And as Steve Pavlenko has opened in the 7th frame, bringing that match much tighter now with John Fury. Comes back with a strike.
Ciccone a double.
John Fury could have climbed back in that match with Steve Pavlenko Jr. if he would have thrown a strike on lane 8. Instead, he only takes out the 1, 2, 5, 8, leaving a 4 split. And looks like Joe Ciccone has figured out the left lane. He has taken a 43 pin advantage over Jolie Carrillo.
All the other matches also in the 9th frame, so all the matches are moving around the same pace. Again, another 9 count for Carrillo.
And Jolie makes the 7 pin. Ooh. And a pocket 7-10 by Jolie Carrillo.
Just not good breaks for Jolie Carrillo here in the first match of the quarterfinals.
And Jolie will finish with 171. Joe Ciccone can go out for 248. Take a commanding 67 pin or 77 pin lead.
Big 4 for Ciccone.
Potentially to lose 30 plus pins with that shot. Could have gone out for 248. He's going to have to settle for about 210. So right now a 39 pin advantage for Joe Ciccone as they will enter their second game of this match. And there Jolie gets it going. Nice shot. Joe made sure he gave that one plenty of room, leaving just the 10 pin. Joe converts to spare.
Just taking a look at some other scores as they all finish up. Adam Bear 186 the first game versus Bobby Benton, finished with a 176. Steve Pavlenko Jr. versus John Fury. Pavlenko 207, Fury 158. And Matt Taylor versus Matt O'Grady. Matt Taylor had 215, O'Grady 211.
Matt Taylor's from Youngsville, North Carolina. He has 2 PBA regional titles. He also another bowler I saw from North Carolina entered this event was Kyle Troop. Kyle Troop, the son of PBA Tour titleist Guppy Troop.
So Carrillo starting out with the strike, Ciccone spare strike to start the match. Again, Ciccone, a 39 pin advantage going into the second game of the quarterfinals.
Similar hit to the 7-10 pocket split, this time leaving just a 10 pin. And Jolie converts the 10 pin this time.
There's a strike for Carrillo. So 2 strikes for Carrillo on the left side. Starts out strike, spare, strike.
She had 3 opens the first game. No, she's hoping she doesn't open at all this game and can get some strikes together. As we watch Joe Ciccone. He's been a tour regular for the better part of 15 years. Good break for Joe getting the 7-pin to kick out late, only leaving the 3-6. And Joe converts. Adam Bear to our left had a 10-pin advantage after game 1. He has started the second game with 2 opens and then just threw a strike. Bobby Benton has a spare and a strike showing in the second frame. Great shot there by Joe Ciccone. One of first regional titles Joe won, I had bowled in. I believe it was in the Buffalo area. Joe dominated during the qualifying. That probably goes back to right around the year 2000 or 2001. And a double now for Carrillo. She's down 39 pins after game 1. Another strike here will cut that total to 19. Got that one way inside. And fortunate to leave just the 5-pin.
Bobby Benton down 10 pins after game 1. Solid start coming into the second game. Spare strike, spare, spare. Well, Adam Bear, open strike for him. So Benton right back in that one.
Bobby's a member of the Brunswick staff. Has 10 300 games and 4 800 series. Again, bowling on a very challenging 2009 ETBF EMC long pattern, which is 44 foot. Very difficult, less than 2-to-1 ratio with the oil.
Ciccone back-to-back strikes.
As he pulls to even in this match, and he has a 39-pin lead from game 1.
Matt Taylor versus Matt O'Grady. It's Taylor who has a 4-pin advantage. Taylor starting off slow to start the second game with an open and a spare. Battles back 2 strikes, while Matt O'Grady 2 strikes and a spare for him through 3 frames. Remember, it's 2-game total pinfall. The winner advances to the round of 4. Ciccone with another strike, make that 3 in a row for him.
And with that, he takes the lead in game 2.
John Fury, who's down 49 pins after game 1, trying to make a comeback on the pair to the right of Carrillo and Ciccone. Carrillo through the nose again.
As Jolie staying clean through this match. Game 1, she left 2 pocket splits. Tough breaks for Jolie.
Strike there for Carrillo. Again in Lebanon, Pennsylvania for today's finals of the Pure Pro Shop Tournament, sponsored by the Fraternal Order of Eagles, Chapter 472. Dylan Bauer alongside Daryl Bauer. Round of 8. The winner goes home with $2,000 as the first place prize. Joe Ciccone going for 4 in a row, and he'll get it.
Have a strong field with the remaining 8 bowlers. Of course, Joe Ciccone, 2000 PBA Rookie of the Year. Have John Fury, that's a 2011-2012 PBA Eastern Player of the Year. Also Stephen Pavlenko with a PBA Regional title. Adam Bear with 2 PBA Regional titles. As well as Matt Taylor has 2 PBA titles, regional titles.
Ciccone 5 in a row, continuing from the first game. 210 the first game. Big 4 in the 10th frame, that's what causes score to be so low. Fury now has 4 in a row, trying to remain in the match. Again, he's down 49 pins after game 1. Pavlenko 3 in a row as well.
Almost a must strike there for Carrillo. As Joe Ciccone is going at a upper 230 plus pace this game. Along with his 210 the first game, he'll be around 450 after 2 games if he continues to mark. And right now the best Carrillo can do would be getting up to 400 if she strikes out. Joe Ciccone in the driver's seat. Just needs to get good count on his next shot. And he'll advance to the semifinals. And if there was any chance, that pretty much was the end of that with that split by Carrillo. And to our right, on lane 8, John Fury's going for a 5-bagger to go with an earlier double this game. Goes through the nose.
Bobby Benton and Adam Bear still in a close one. Bear took a 10-pin lead the first game, but Benton battling back in this one.
Benton was our #1 seed. He had the highest qualifying score of the 3 rounds of qualifying. So he had gotten 2 byes throughout the first 2 rounds today. This being his first time on the lanes. Maybe still trying to get comfortable today. As he converts the 4-pin on lane 3. Adam Bear up 10 through game 1, is down 20 at this point. Going into his 8th frame in game 2.
So 3 frames left to go in that one. 10th frame coming up here on the feature match. Joe Ciccone, Julie Carrillo. As Joe Ciccone will be advancing to the round of 4.
Matt Taylor will be up 17 pins through game 2 to go along with his 4-pin advantage from game 1.
Also, Steve Pavlenko Jr. will go on to the semifinals. So he'll defeat John Fury after having a 49-pin advantage after game 1, bowling a 207 to 158. Fury had 4 in a row. This one, Pavlenko has 5 in a row currently. And that'll do it for John Fury as he'll end his day finishing with a 222. As Ciccone makes the spare in front of us.
Matt Taylor just increased his lead to 27 pins now this game over Matt O'Grady.
Ciccone looking to shoot a 237 to round out the quarterfinals.
It's like Joe changed balls. Tried something a little different with that fill shot. Looked like that ball gets down the lane a little bit easier for him.
Final score from Fury versus Pavlenko. Pavlenko 224, Fury 222. So Pavlenko 431 total, John Fury 380 total. Pavlenko with a 51 pin win in his match here in the quarterfinals. As Benton throws a strike in the 10th frame versus Adam Bear. Again, Bear 10 pin advantage coming into game 2.
And Benton can throw a strike here to shut out Adam Bear. Anything but a strike. Adam Bear can strike out in a 10th to at least tie, if not win.
Final score for Ciccone versus Carrillo. Ciccone 447 here in quarterfinals. Carrillo 364 for an 83-point win for Ciccone.
As we'll see the final shot for Adam Bear here in the 10th frame. He needs all 3 strikes.
Bobby Benton, his opponent, finished with a 205.
Got that one in, and that's going to do it. Bobby Benton will advance. Our tournament high qualifier as he defeats Adam Bear.
Final score in that one, Benton 381, Bear 359. So one final match to go. It's Matt Taylor versus Matt Grady. Taylor coming into game 2 had the 4-pin advantage. Pierce Taylor will win that one as well. Finishes this one with a 223.
And Matt throws a strike, his first shot in the 10th. Matt was a 2-time first-team All-American at William Patterson University. He was on Junior Team USA for 3 years, from 2006 to 2008. And won junior gold in 2006. And now he's relaxed. Looks like Matt's throwing strikes down there on lane 10, but a little too late, as Matt Taylor bowled 438 for his 2 games. And Matt's only going to be 4-0 in the 4-0s, maybe 4-0-5.
So that'll go down as a 33-pin win for Matt Taylor. So you have the 4 semifinalists set. Be Bobby Benton, Joe Ciccone, Steve Pavlenko Jr., and Matt Taylor. Get you the bracket here. So it'd be Benton versus Pavlenko Jr., Ciccone versus Taylor. So we'll take a little break here. We'll be back in just a little bit for the semifinals here at Cedar Lanes in Lebanon, Pennsylvania for the Pure Pro Shop Championship. back in Lebanon, Pennsylvania at Cedar Lanes for Pureit Pro Shop event number 3. Dylan Bauer alongside Daryl Bauer. We're heading into the semifinals. Will be Bobby Benton versus Steve Pavlenko Jr. and then Joe Ciccone versus Matt Taylor. How do they got this point? Bobby Benton defeated Adam Bear 381 to 359 in the round of 8. Joe Ciccone defeated Julie Carrillo 447 to 364. Steve Pavlenko Jr. defeated John Fury 431 380, and Matt Taylor defeated Matt O'Grady 438 to 405.
Our featured match this game will be Bobby Benton versus Steve Pavlenko Jr. Bobby Benton is the only non-PBA member left out of the Final 4, although he has cashed in 2 PBA regional events this year. He had a top 16 finish as well as a top 8 finish. So that would be his 2 cashes, and he would not be able to bowl anymore till he joined as a member for this year. So all 4 players, pretty strong players, and participate in PBA regionals as well as national events.
Jeff Smith, the director of today's tournament, coming on for an interview in the next couple minutes. Stay tuned for that. But meanwhile, Bobby Benton will lead off versus Steve Pavlenko Jr. Benton's first shot will hit in the pocket for a strike.
As we will watch, Pavlenko Jr. comes from a great bowling family. Dad Steve Pavlenko Sr. with 5 regular regional titles, as well as 2 senior PBA 50 titles. And Uncle Larry, also a great bowler, also with PBA regional titles.
Pavlenko leaving the 4-pin for his first shot in the semifinals. Benton averaged 192 in the last round. Pavlenko averaged 215. Meanwhile, Joe Ciccone opens his first frame as Pavlenko converts a spare.
Daryl Bauer alongside Jeff Smith. Jeff, you have to be pretty pleased with the turnout for this tournament. 229 entries.
Absolutely, it's been a little surreal. Our first year running tournaments here. We've had 3 events so far. Obviously, this is number 3 of the year, and we were able to sell them all out with prepays. The unique thing about this one was I actually sold it out in 6 days. Very encouraging, preserves the prize fund, and just ensures we can offer the most money here for these competitors at a low entry fee.
Yep, great turnout. I know the bowlers appreciate that. They're always looking for events to bowl in, and you kind of given that with your 3 events here at Cedar Lanes. And congratulations for 3rd consecutive sellout.
Absolutely, thank you.
Well, we're down to the top 4 players. Any particular reason why you chose this week's event, the pattern, the 2009 ETBF EMC long pattern?
Actually, it was in, I was talking to John Janowitz from Kegel, and each time we try to offer a very demanding oil pattern. As a bowler myself, what we really look for in events is obviously good prize funds, but for the competitive bowler, we really look to have tougher patterns where you're not going into a house shot where if you don't strike, you're going to get run over. So we generally use a lot of flatter patterns. The modification of this pattern on the 44-foot pattern, very flat from 8 to the gutter. The inside ratios are about 1.43, headed out to the gutter about 1.416. Very, very demanding in pair to pair, especially in this center. Makes it really challenging.
Well, you're going to have a very deserving champion, that's for sure, to survive the 229 entries that you've had in the tournament, and on this challenging pattern where you can't miss by much, it can still throw a good shot and strike, as we have seen. But if you stick around like 210 average, would you say that's a pretty good average on this pattern?
Oh, absolutely. If you look at the various squads, yesterday's 3 qualifying squads, the 8, the 1, and the 6, the highest set of the day was thrown in the early pattern at 8 a.m. By Bobby Benton, who's still in the field, which is your overall tournament leader after qualifying. What you saw throughout the rest of the day is every time the pattern went down, again, it got a little flatter, a little tougher. You could see that in the scores slowly coming down. But yeah, I couldn't be more pleased with the outcome of how the shot's playing. And you know, the 4 guys that are bowling right now, they deserve to be here. I mean, they're making quality shots, closing the boxes, and whoever takes home this title and the beautiful trophy, as you'll probably get to see later from on the ball, it's kind of like a regional feel, if you will.
Yep. As we have seen, Steve Pavlenko has started his match with 3 consecutive spares, and Bobby Benton has a strike, 7 spare and strike, as Steve Pavlenko goes up for his shot in the 4th frame, still looking for his first strike at this match. How was the local turnout for the event? Did you have many local bowlers bowl?
Absolutely. With the low entry fee, I think it allows for the local bowlers to get a feel. They know the pattern's going to be tough, but why not give it a shot? And from a local standpoint, we had over a dozen locals that bowled various squads. The highest finisher obviously was my better half, if you will, from the area. The much more accomplished part of the family, but Carrie is solid in there all the time. But some of the other locals struggled a little bit. You don't have that free right that you do in the house patterns and the miss room, and it really brings out your poor shots. If you make a poor shot, you pay for it.
And I know you had a great turnout for out of state. I know at least 3 bowlers that came from North Carolina to bowl. So I'd say your representation was probably 9 or 10 states of bowlers participated in your event. So that's a great turnout there. That says a lot.
And it was. Actually, one of the last 4 that's in the field here, we had a dropout due to injury that was pretty late. And I got a call from Joe Ciccone from Buffalo late on Friday night. Opened up a spot. He was obviously real excited to get into the field. And here he is. He's only a couple matches away from trying to bring home the $2,000 payday and title number 1 in the Pure Shop Series here.
Well, no doubt about it. Caliber of player of Joe Ciccone. Barely missed having a PBA Tour title. He has 2 PBA Tour seconds or runners up. One of those was in Chicago, and the other one was the doubles in Las Vegas.
Yeah, and I remember that doubles in Las Vegas. That was a heartbreaker. If anybody's a PBA buff like myself, they remember back to that match. If not, maybe look it up on YouTube, and you'll understand what I mean about the heartbreak that came from that one. So, but if you want any PBA statistics, he would be the guy to talk to, as Joe's been tied in with the PBA for years, kind of historian, if you would, and just has all kind of interesting facts that guys' minds like a steel trap of knowledge when it comes to the PBA and the great players throughout the years that came through there.
Well, we're watching our featured match. Steve Pavlenko Jr. down 18 pins after 4 frames to Bobby Benton. And that was kind of a weird shot. I don't know if you saw that blow type of 4-pin that Steve just left on that shot.
Yeah, Steve kind of has a little voodoo trick roll, kind of spins a little bit through the fronts. So, you know, really get some sharp angles down lane. And, you know, I'm not sure if the camera caught it earlier, but I seen him throw a scalp like I've never seen before at a 10-pin. It just was, I couldn't believe he didn't flex and just tell everybody they're done, because it was it was pretty incredible. That's the shots that I wish I could get on film.
A lot of power from Steve Pavlenko Jr. Also has a younger brother. That's at Martin Methodist College. That's a great player and has bowled some regional events. I know you've done many regional events over the past couple years. I know your back's bothering you a little bit right now. I don't know if that's affecting your play.
It definitely was. I actually, the last Heartland Bowling Series event, I had bowled the Saturday event and was having some pretty bad back issues. Didn't get the bowl on Sunday, which was a little discouraging. You know, fighting some injuries over the last couple of years between the knee, the back, and the wrist. I sound like a walking medicine cabinet here, but you know, it's, I guess it comes with getting a little older. But yeah, in terms of Steve's younger brother Jason, he's bowled our events in the past. He wasn't available to come this weekend, but he's another one that supports him. And, you know, not to get outshadowed, and I know you probably announced it already, but, you know, I just want everybody out there to realize, you know, we're only about a month away from our next installment, which is going to be a Heartland Bowling and Pure Pro Shop coming together for the Masters. And that's exciting. That's filling up pretty quickly. October 18th and 19th. That's going to give away $1,500 plus a USBC Masters entry, which obviously is worth about $500. So, again, you know, $65 entry fee there. We're gonna have the Super Saver available for you for the $150. Come in, cash it on every squad, and it's going to be a great time.
Well, we've just seen Bobby Benton have his first Open. That was following Steve Pavlenko Jr.'s Open, also in the 6th frame, and Bobby has a 19-pin lead at this point. Can you tell us a little bit about the collaboration with Jonathan Bauer for that tournament, the Masters tournament you were talking about?
Yeah, it pretty much came together. Me and John started talking right around the end of our second event that Pure Pro Shop had done, and you know, it was really interested in the turnouts we were getting, and you know, kind of the ability to bring the marketing aspect of it to get the people into the buildings. And we just want to really revitalize competitive bowling in the East here. Between the 2 tournament series, you're not going to get better action, better players, and I think, you know, after this first tournament that we run together, we're probably going to look to run a lot more in the future. This kind of all transpired because of the cancellation of the Pennsylvania State Masters, which was held in the same bowling alley, ABC West, last year. The state decided not to run the tournament again. So John and myself got talking, and I think we were actually at Turning Stone when it all started, the conversation, way for a tournament, and decided, hey, we didn't want to lose that. You know, the bowlers deserve good venues, great payouts, and we just want to offer what we'd like to see in a tournament ourselves. So it's exciting. I'm looking forward to it. You know, we're going to be on a big push here in the next month to fill this up and get the big prize fund like we're anticipating.
Well, I know one bowler is going to be looking forward to it, and that's Joe Pelusic. Joe Pelusic always bowls good at ABC West, and he's the 2013 Pennsylvania State Masters champion from last year.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been talking about it nonstop, and obviously Joe being one of my travel partners, when we're going away, I get to hear the stories over and over about, you know, his junior accomplishments at West and how much he's led by, and you know, he's pretty dominant when it comes to that building. So he'll obviously be on the radar for one of the favorites going into the field that day.
As we see in our featured match, Bobby Benton is up 19 pins. He's on a double going into the 9th. And Steve Pavlenko Jr. is also on a double going into the 9th. Our other match, Joe Ciccone, is up about 20 pins over Matt Taylor. Joe Ciccone is our number 2 seed. Can you tell us how the bowlers got to the match play today, or the round of the brackets today?
Yeah, sure. We actually did squad cuts for this event, 3 different squads. We took 8 bowlers off of every squad into the bracket. Nobody can make the finals more than once, since you were allowed to re-enter. Those individuals, if they made it more than once, actually enjoyed another cashing spot. So we had 24 players that qualified from yesterday, and we had another 3 that came off the Desperado that was held this morning, which we had pretty decent turnout for the remaining bowlers that weren't too fatigued after the 15 games a lot of them put in yesterday. So it ended up being, 27 checks out there today on top of the double your entry fee checks paid out yesterday. The low entry fee is 65, and outside the number on every squad, there was 6 additional checks for 130. Wow, and there goes a Thunder. His scout again and bringing some deadwood halfway down the lane.
That's what you were talking about earlier with shots by Steve Pavlenko Jr.
He is definitely fun to watch. He's definitely a horse. So.
Well, finds himself down about 34 pins at this point in the match.
And honestly, Darryl, it's anyone's game. I mean, you could be down 40-50 in a 2-game format like this, and it's very easy to shoot 150. And if you get it together, 230, 240, and the tides can change really quickly, and you just can't take the foot off the accelerator.
Yeah, I noticed the first round, one of the bowlers was up around 60 pins after game 1 and had to barely hold on to win his match.
That was actually Pelusic. He had bowled a very tough Mark Hess. He's a player from the Reading area, supports all the events, and Mark dug himself a hole real early. Opened up the second game, I believe, with the front 4 or 5, and Joe got in a little split trouble, and fortunately for him, he was able to sneak through that match, but only by about 10 pins or so.
And just the very last frame in our other match, Joe Ciccone left a split, and his lead is now down to 14 pins over Matt Taylor. So we want to thank Pureit Pro Shop for everything that you do. I know you handle the equipment, balls, bags, and shoes. What other services do you provide in the Pro Shop?
We've really put a lot of focus into giving private lessons. Obviously, the youth is the future of this bowling game, and Darryl, as you're a owner and proprietor yourself, you know that the key to success and longevity in this business is making sure that the youth bowlers are your bowlers of the future. So myself and Carrie, we offer lessons at a very reasonable price, hour sessions, and we really use a lot of the most sophisticated tools that are out there. One of our great sponsors for this event was Eileen's Bowling Buddies and Bowl U, which offers a lot of really good educational videos and tools to actually help people understand the modern day release, a nice straight swing plane, which I don't have myself, but I do use the tools to try to straighten them out. But it got tied in with those companies, and if you get the chance, check out Bowl U online and the great products from Eileen's Bowling Buddy. And I take a little time here, while we're on the talking about some of the sponsors. This couldn't be possible without some of the sponsors that we have. For the second straight event, I'd like to really thank the Fraternal Orders of Eagles 472 from Lebanon chapter. They are pretty much one of our title sponsors that put up $1,000 into this prize fund and added money. And they are basically a small private club. It's very unique. If you ever get a chance to go down there, it's kind of in the basement of an old, I believe it was a school building years ago, and the upstairs is catering. The downstairs has 4 lanes, very old wood on an AMF surface that's really beat up and actually done by hand. But they were one of the main contributors, and my shop staff, they did a fantastic job. We ran a really big raffle to raise money, which we gave out, a 32-inch TV. We gave out 3 bowling balls from Brunswick, which is another one of our sponsors. A couple of the other ones, Vice gave us a couple accessories. KT Tape gave us some tape to put up. John Diella and Real Bowlers Tape, who put up 3 500 count rolls of tape as a secondary prizes. Jay Brewer from Stability Strikes, he's a big supporter. And one of the newest sponsors, which is a company that I'm starting to represent, is Axis Sportswear, which is a new sublimated dye company that's making shirts similar to your Geminis and your High Fives. And they've actually stepped up, and at the last minute here, they added to the winner of this tournament is going to receive a Pure Pro Shop sublimated jersey that kind of commemorates their victory in this event. So exciting stuff.
And besides being a great bowler in your own right, I know you coached Lancaster Mennonite last year, and one of your gals, Chelsea Merklinger, finished second in the state tournament. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience with Chelsea?
Yeah, very rewarding. I mean, obviously with the private lessons and stuff that we do, you know, giving back and doing the coaching aspect of it, it might be more rewarding than actually physically doing well myself in the lanes. And Chelsea's now moved on. She's actually bowling for Delaware State University starting this year, which is coached by another local here, Alicia Current, who was in the field in all 3 squads and came up a little short for making the finals, but she's always a solid competitor. And actually, this may be the first time I'm announcing it, but we're actually proud to announce that Pure Pro Shop is the exclusive ball driller for Delaware State University bowling team. So we're going to be helping the girls there, and you know, doing what we can to help that program out and continue Chelsea to support her after her high school experience and moving on to college.
Wow, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So we watched match 1. Steve Pavlenko Jr. shot 153 to Bobby Benton's 192. And in our other match going on, Matt Taylor 183. Joe Cicconi's going to be right around the 200 mark. So we'll bring you on again for our championship match. We'll let you get back to serving as tournament director, and we'll bring back in Dylan Bauer for now and bring you back for the finals match. Thanks, Jeff.
Sounds great. We'll let the color analyst come down a little more articulate. Thanks, Darryl.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Jeff. And we'll bring back Dylan Bauer. Dylan, can you give us a rundown of what you're seeing here from Game 1 of the semifinals?
Well, as far as Joe Cicconi goes and Matt Taylor finished his game 183. Joe Cicconi a chance to strike here to shoot a 200. As Cicconi leaves the 7-pin, so he'll finish with a 199, but that'll still be good enough for a 16-pin advantage. And then Bobby Benton, the 192, Game 1. Steve Pavlenko Jr., 153, so now a good start for him in the second round. So Benton, 39-pin advantage in the round 2, as so far it is clear for Benton, as Pavlenko is still struggling yet in the second game.
Yeah, pockets split for Steve Pavlenko in the second frame. Tried to convert it, just barely missing, sliding the 4 into the 9.
There's turkey for Bobby Benton.
Steve Pavlenko up on the right lane in frame 4. He got his, whoa, and we just have seen Matt Taylor convert the 410 on lane 3 off camera. Great shot by Matt. As I was saying, Steve Pavlenko Jr. got his PBA regional title this year in Ellicott City. He defeated Bill O'Neill his first match. Bill O'Neill, one of the outstanding players, if not the best player on the PBA tour. Also defeated Billy Asbury. He had to double in the 10th to beat Joe Pelusic in the semifinal match, and then beat Gary Haynes in the finals. So congratulations to young Steve Pavlenko with his first PBA title back in March.
As struggles continue this game for Pavlenko, another split. Already down 39 pins coming into the game. It's going to be hard to come back with 5 frames remaining. 224 high game for Pavlenko. That's possible.
Yep, but Bobby Benton's already in the 2 teens with a commanding lead if he can stay clean. Yep.
Get some help from the pins for another strike. 4 in a row now for Bobby Benton. Came in as the #1 overall seed.
Our other match says Joe Ciccone bowling as well. Joe Ciccone came in as the #2 seed. And leaving just a 3-pin on that shot by Bobby Benton, which right now it's just a matter of staying clean, leaving easy spares to convert.
Again, it's Joe Ciccone who has 16-pin advantage over Matt Taylor in the other match, and so far both players are clean. Ciccone started out with the double. Taylor spare, strike, strike for him. Ciccone's going up for his 3rd frame now, as Benton converts his spare.
And Steve Pavlenko Jr. got into the semifinals by beating John Fury by a score of 431 to 380. His dad, shortly after he turned 50, won back-to-back PBA 50 regionals. One at Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and the other one at Glassboro, New Jersey. I believe both centers is where the Pavlenko family has their pro shops.
Steve Pavlenko Jr. starting to get something going. Maybe too late in the contest for him, however. Maybe not, as Benton leaves the Big Four.
Easy to do. It's a very demanding condition, as Jeff Smith had been talking about. He wanted a challenging condition. That's what the bowlers like to bowl on. Brings out the best players. Not much room for error.
Be the first open for Benton here in Game 2 of the semifinals.
Ooh.
There's a strike for Bobby Benton. Again, we're at the Pureit Pro Shop, event number 3 at Cedar Lanes in Lebanon, Pennsylvania. Dylan Bauer alongside Daryl Bauer. Losers of these two matches take home $565, as Steve Pavlenko Jr. able to trip out some pins for a strike. Grand winner goes home with $2,000.
Once again, you saw the power of Steve Pavlenko Jr. almost leaving a pocket 7-10, and then the head pin came across the wall, knocked out the 10, the very last pin to fall, turned it for what may have been disaster and into triple for Steve Pavlenko after that shot, and then he added on another strike. Give him a 4-bagger. Still can go out for 224. But he is down 39 pins from game 1, and that's gonna do it.
Pavlenko finally figuring out, but just too late for him as Bobby Benton is coming through and finishing off Pavlenko as Matt Taylor again making another big split in the other match against Joe Ciccone.
This time making the 210, made the 410 earlier. Bobby Benton will move on to face the winner of Joe Ciccone and Matt Taylor, as we watch Steve Pavlenko Jr. finish out his 10th frame, and probably wishes his dad was here. Maybe could have gave him a little bit of advice early on. If Junior would listen to his dad the way I listened to him, I'm sure he would have done much better this match. Steve Senior helping me out at the Senior Masters this past year in Las Vegas. Allowed me to make it to the top 24 with his advice.
So Bobby Benton finishing with the 232 here in game 2, giving a total 424 for the series. Steve Pavlenko, 199. So Benton moves on after a 72 pin victory. So now it's down to Joe Ciccone and Matt Taylor. Winner advances will face Bobby Benton. Ciccone has the 16 pin advantage. Oh, he'll split. Ciccone leaving the 4-6-7.
As we'll follow our other match going on now, which is Joe Ciccone opening in the 5th frame. Now has 93 after 5. His opponent, Matt Taylor, has 87 after 4, working on a spare. Ciccone held a 16-pin lead after game 1, and right now is down 14 pins in match number 2, or game number 2 of this match.
So Bobby Benton coming in number 1 seed, bowling very good in his last round, and this round got by the first round. He's really shown what he has to be the number 1 seed as he's advanced to the semifinals. Again, Joe Ciccone, Matt Taylor.
Yep, Joe's no stranger to pressure, as he's done well on the national tour for the past 15 years at least.
Ciccone will strike. 6th frame for Joe Ciccone. It's Matt Taylor coming up to start his 2 shots. Again, winner goes on to the finals against Bobby Benton.
Again, live streaming from Cedar Lanes in Lebanon.
Solid 7-pin left by Matt Taylor. Unlucky break. Already down by 16.
And if he converts, he will be up by 13 pins this game. Easily converts. Great field. Some of the bowlers we saw today bowling. Rick Graham made the finals. Joe Pelusic. Brett Cunningham. Tim Foy Jr., of course, won the One Heartland Bowling Tournament back in August. And now a 7-pin by Matt Taylor. Matt's a two-time regional champion. Won his first tournament at Victory Lanes in Mooresville, North Carolina. Owned by George Pappas. George is a big supporter of PBA regional and national events. I've had the pleasure to poll the last 4 years in Mooresville and PBA 50 events. And I think that is one of my favorite bowling centers. I've cashed every year there and made match play twice. Matt's other regional title came at Lafayette Lanes in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Matt just one of several bowlers that bowled a tournament coming from North Carolina. Joe going high the time before, light that time. I don't think Joe quite got around that one. I think he was a little bit too firm with his hand, not as soft with the release on that one. Joe needs to convert this to stay within 12 pins of this game to go along with his 16-pin advantage the first game. So right now Joe is up 4 pins in the match as he makes the bucket.
So 3 frames left to decide who will move on to the championship round. He rolls and not able to get him to fall. Leaves the 4-pin.
We saw the previous match. Joe was in between balls. He went to a lesser aggressive ball at the end of that match, experimenting around a little bit. Then the lanes were re-oiled for the semifinal match, as well as it'll be a fresh pair for the finals match. I wonder if Joe's thinking right now that he might be better off using a different ball. Only has 2 strikes through 8 frames in this match. Chance for Matt Taylor now. If he strikes out, will shut out Joe Ciccone. Looks like he slipped on that one. Loss of count is going to hurt on that one, as that took his lead down to just 9 pins this game. He's already down by 16 after game 1. So right now he has to find a way to pick up at least 7 pins the last 2 frames. And that's not going to help.
So Taylor, 149 through 8 frames. Can finish 209 if he strikes out. Needs a little help from Joe Ciccone, but Matt Taylor will be going into his 9th frame now. Taylor averaged 207 the last 3 games, as Ciccone averaged 215. Back-to-back shots. Taylor just getting the ball too far outside. Taylor, big spare for him. He'll get it. So now Ciccone will come up, finish his day with the final 2 frames of the quarterfinals, looking to move on to the finals against Bobby Benton.
Just has to stay clean at this point. Easier said than done on this difficult pattern. As we heard Jeff Smith describe it earlier, it's a less than 2-to-1 ratio, about a 1.43 ratio from inside oil to outside. Means you have to make quality shots. And in that case, that was not one of Joe's better shots, as he leaves a 3-6-10, which can be very difficult to make. He's got it. So now this game is dead even. Joe Ciccone having a 16-pin advantage from game 1.
So a strike and a good count on the second ball would just about do it for Matt Taylor.
Good count, spare, good count. And Joe will be victorious. Well, that's the best way to do it.
So as long as Ciccone can stay out of the gutters, should move on to face Bobby Benton. 4 pins is all he needs.
So it's going to have the finals match against the number 1 qualifier, and Bobby Benton against the number 2 qualifier, and Joe Ciccone. Don't see that very often, that fellows that qualify near the top come out, their mindset gets pretty much on what they did qualifying. If they find an opponent that has a hot hand, then throws them off a little bit. It's easy to get confused, especially on a difficult scoring pattern. As I think Joe would probably say, he's surviving out there, shooting 199 the first game and potentially 189 this game. After averaging 231 in qualifying yesterday, Joe's going to average about 194 to be victorious in this match. And Joe, I think, trying to figure out if another line, trying to almost play for a strike line there, knowing he had the match under control, just to see what ball reaction he would get.
So Joe Ciccone facing Bobby Benton for the title match. Again, same format, 2-game. Top scorer wins. The winner takes home $2,000, while second place will go home with $1,000.
Yes, then it won't be too long a ride for Matt Taylor, as he's going to be taking home $565. So that ride should be pretty easy.
Meanwhile, we'll take a quick break right before we come back for the championship match here at the Pure Pro Shop, event number 3, title match against Bobby Benton versus Joe Ciccone. We'll be back with that in just a little bit. back out in Lebanon, Pennsylvania for the Pure Pro Shop event number 3 championship. This is the title match. I'm Dylan Bauer alongside Daryl Bauer, going with Bobby Benton versus Joe Ciccone. Winner goes home $2,000. The loser goes home with $1,000. Bobby Benton got to this point after beating Steve Pavlenko Jr. 424-352 last match. Joe Ciccone defeated Matt Taylor 387 to 368 as Bobby Benton starts it off and
leaves a 2-8.
Leaves the 2-8.
Daryl Bauer now being joined in this live stream broadcast with Joe Paluzik. Joe, I know you made the finals for today, the match play bracket round, but you got beat by Matt O'Grady. I know you would have liked to have advanced. How did that match go? I know it's tough scoring conditions out there.
Yeah, I never really got good feel today, and Matt bowled really well. I was lucky to get through the first match this morning against Mark Hess.
That's right. You had a big lead after game 1 against Mark, correct? And then
Yeah.
you got a little tight near the end. Mark got going a little bit.
Yeah, I started out the first game really good. Oh, nice roll the 2-pin there by Joe. Yeah, I had front 5 against Mark. Made a split, and struck to around the 10th, and I had pocket 7-10 in the 10th to stay ahead 60. And in the second game, basically stayed clean, missed a split, and it came down to needing marks at the end, and I stayed clean.
I know you're on Brunswick's staff. What ball did you use today?
Today I used a Mastermind and then a Mastermind Genius. Genius was a little cleaner, but it's definitely read the second third of the lane the way I want it. It just started hooking early, a little too soon.
As we see Joe Ciccone take advantage of that trip 2-pin.
Yes.
To double up.
Got to take advantage of them. Turn them into doubles.
I was at the Senior Masters in Vegas when Walter Ray tripped out to 2, 4, and 5 to beat Jack Jurek. I don't know that Walter has probably ever had as a fortunate hit as he did in that case.
That was a big one. He's known to get good pin action when he needs it.
Yeah. That's why he has 50 titles almost.
Yeah.
Oh, we're watching our number 1 seed, Bobby Benton, go against our number 2 seed, Joe Ciccone.
Yeah, Bobby led it. He was 180 over yesterday.
And you made it off of the first squad? And looks
Yeah,
like,
I was 90 over.
I know Jeff had talked about having a challenging condition brings out the best players. They have to execute. So how fitting we have number 1 versus number 2 in the championship match.
Perfect.
I know you would like that every time you qualify as a qualifying
Sure.
leader and end up in the championship match. Seemed like most of the players have been playing inside.
Yeah, it's a longer pattern. It's 44 feet, so you kind of want to keep it in front of the pocket a little bit. You don't want to go around it. But everybody that made good shots had a good chance of making the cut.
As we saw in our last match, Joe Ciccone did not shoot 200 and prevailed that match over Matt Taylor. It's all what it's about after qualifying is just winning your matches.
Yeah, you saw low rev players, women, high rev players, two-handers. A lefty made it today. A little bit of everybody, all different styles.
Have you ever had to bowl against Joe in any stepladder finals or bracket finals?
One time in Hubbard, Ohio, he beat me in the round 8. He went on to win it.
Yep, certainly a premier player. I think one of the first times I saw Joe bowl, he won the regional I bowled in. It's probably back in year 2000, maybe even earlier than that.
Man, another upstate New Yorker that can bowl well. There's lots of them.
Joe's running a mixed doubles tournament up in the Buffalo area. Are you familiar with that tournament?
Yeah, it's the Venus and Mars tournament. Or I think, no, the Jack and Jill. I'm sorry, the Jack and Jill. Unfortunately, I was a little too high in the points for this season to be eligible to bowl in it. But that's because we don't have a ton of events on the national tour. And I bowled good in one of them. So, go figure. Uh-oh.
Bobby Benton didn't like that shot, but with that shot, helped pull within 6 pins of Joe Ciccone.
He's got a real interesting wrist roll release. Kind of reminds me of Terry Decker. You remember Terry Decker? Yeah.
Could you maybe show us a little bit how that release, you would just describe that release? Sure.
It looks like he kind of like cups it and then collapses it really fast. But he rolls it with his elbow. The elbow bends and then it's an uncorking. Yeah, I don't release the ball like that.
Yep. I'm a little bit older school than that even. Is he similar in release with Pavlenko Jr., would you say, or Pavlenko Jr.
I think he spins it more, but but they still have that high rev rate. Definitely the quickness of the thumb exit is similar in both.
Ooh. Be back-to-back opens for Joe Ciccone here if he doesn't convert. I don't know that I've seen the 4-6 converted maybe but once or twice in my lifetime.
One of the girls yesterday made the 4-6-10 off the big 4.
Oh.
Yep. I wouldn't have shot it that way.
We had 3 of the girls advance to today. Tina Falbo, Carrie Smith, and Jolie Carrillo, who was featured in her first match.
Yes, Carrie bowled well. So did I watch Jolie bowl a little bit yesterday. I didn't see Tania bowl too much.
Tania. With those last 2 open frames, Joe finds himself down 5 pins now.
Moved in a little more. Very good shot.
Mentioned earlier on the broadcast that Bobby Benton's not a PBA member, but he bowled 2 events that he cashed in this year. He finished in the top 16 once and the top 8 another time.
Yeah, you might see him around sooner than you think.
I think he got his 2 cashes in, so he's probably just Sitting back now, waiting till next year now, perhaps. Definitely a strong player out of the Maryland area. Say maybe one area that Bobby can maybe work on a little bit is posting a little bit at the line. Seems like
he gets there ahead of the ball, but yeah, his lower body isn't set as solid as you would want it to be to get maximum leverage.
Certainly up to this point not affecting his score in this tournament.
But he's not hitting that left lane. Joe's gone high here the last 2 times on this lane. Let's see if he makes the adjustment.
I think he was kind of thinking he may have thrown a good shot on that, just not getting the ball down the lane. It looked like the elbow came out a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Trying to arm it to the right. You know, we've all been there. Good spare. 5-pin game through 7.
Joe Ciccone has 16 PBA regional titles. I know you have 3. I think 2 of those came at the Howe Lanes, Joe?
No. Actually, none of them came at Howe.
Oh, okay.
One was in Syracuse. One was in Levittown, New York.
That's right. I bowled that one.
And I'm drawing a blank on the other one.
Yeah, I was thinking that you had one at
Parkway
Howe.
out. No, Parkway in New Jersey. Yeah.
Okay.
I have 3 seconds at Howe.
Okay. That's probably what I was thinking of.
Good shot for Joe.
Did you climb the ladder at Levittown?
Yes, I did. Levittown was tough. They were low scores there. That's a tough house to cross. Pair to pair was very different.
I know I bowled there. I made the top 16 as well as Jonathan Bauer. Made the top 16 in that event. So I wasn't there for the step ladder finals, but I was there for most of the qualifying that day.
Okay.
And who did you beat at Levittown?
I beat Wiseman in the title match.
Right.
Bowled the 279 game.
You like that number? You bowled 279 in the Heartland Bowling Tournament 2 weeks ago at ABC East Lanes.
It's a good score to shoot in the title match. Uh-oh. Yeah, that was a little up the lane. Turned his hand, he says.
Well, it comes down to right now 1 pin advantage if Bobby Benton can convert to 3-6-10. Joe Ciccone made it the last shot on lane 6. That's in.
Oh. Well, he hasn't struck on the left lane. And Joe's gone high 3 times on the right lane.
think Joe recognized his last shot over here. He didn't make a good shot.
I do. I think this will be a very good shot.
Yep. Much better shot. Tough break.
Yes. Filling the frames there. 1-pin game.
Just one bad shot for Joe Ciccone on lane 5 so far this game. As you observed, definitely his better lane of the two.
Yes. Yeah, this should be a good shot as well. Joe drifts a little left when he bowls. Starting out on 18, 21 at the foul line. Posted the shot. The lower body was in good position there to deliver the ball. That's what you were talking about.
Right.
10th frame. A lot further left on that one.
Perhaps a higher scoring condition that may have held, but not on this condition.
Absolutely.
Still got through it pretty good, but didn't have the right projection.
Well, all things considered, 184 is not a bad number here. The scores aren't that high. The most he can be down is 11 pins, and it looks like it's right in contention. 2 games total pins match.
We saw Joe win his last match against Matt Taylor without bowling a 200 game. He had 199 and I believe about 187. Joe Ciccone started off this match with a double. That's been the only set of strikes together we've seen so far.
Yes.
Strike here by Bobby Benton, and they'll be even going into game 2.
And we are. It's a 1-game match.
Is it coming? Do you want to come in? No, I'm talking to Joe. I think Jeff's coming in. Just wants you to stay till see what he does. As we watch Joe Ciccone start off game number 2 on the left lane. Been his better lane. Another 9-pin. I think he's trying to
deeper there.
Yeah. Keeping it a
Here's
little
our
tight.
tournament director, Jeff Smith.
I want to thank Joe Pelusic for joining us for this live stream broadcast. And now once again, tournament director, Jeff Smith. Looks like we have an even match after game one, 184 each.
Yeah, absolutely. Exciting stuff.
And we have the number 1 qualifier bowling against the number 2 qualifier. How do you feel about that?
It's actually kind of unique when you look at it. Very seldom do you see a bracket format where you reseed after each round, where the 1-2 actually face each other in the title match. And you know, that's a testament to what these guys did through qualifying, consistency through the brackets, and what got them here. So obviously bowling on a pair that's playing pretty tough right now in the fresh, pair of 184s for each bowler, and doesn't really look like either one of them are 100% comfortable with their plan of attack here.
Right, we saw Joe Ciccone average 231 during qualifying, and Bobby Benton was about 236 during qualifying, and as you mentioned, first game scores of 184 each. Ooh.
Yeah, and what really got Bobby here through qualifying is like we talked a little bit, was kind of that trick roll he's got going on. He has a very unique release where he has a big hinge prior to his delivery, but he does generate a lot of momentum at the bottom of the swing, and really has really high percentage of pin carry, the way he can get the ball through the pins. Ooh, good shot there at a 4-9. Big shot.
Bobby Benton opened the first frame of game one, and since then he's been clean. Joe Ciccone started game one with a double and came back with 2 splits. Neither player has found a double since Joe's opening 2 strikes in game one.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know what's going to keep him in the match is shots like that. It was just made by Benton. Wow, really good shot there, just dead clean at the bottom. I've been watching Joe since we were in junior bowling. I brought back a memory of years ago with the closing of the Showboat here recently. I remember bowling Joe in the Challenge tournament. I was about 14 years old when I first met Joe, and I actually faced him in match play and remember it pretty vividly that I was able to take him down in that match. It was kind of a highlight for me, but I'm pretty sure he's beat me every other time I bowled him since. So it's one that I definitely would remind him about. And you know what? He's beat me so many times, he probably doesn't even remember that one.
Well, I think that a lot of us would be
another good shot.
Glad to say that they had beat Joe Ciccone even one time.
Yeah, we got to hold on to what we can there.
Two pure shots by Joe. Left lane seems to be his better lane as he struggled on the right side.
10 back there, another beautiful shot from Benton.
And shot on lane 5. He can strike here. It'll be his first double of the match. We had seen Jolie Carrillo have 2 pocket splits on this pair on the first live stream match game. She left a 4-9, similar to Bobby, and she also left a pocket 7-10.
Yeah. Oh, and there's a double. Keeping the heat on Ciccone. Speaking of Jolie, I mean, if you watch, there's another prodigy that came out of UMES, I believe. Really great collegiate player. And if you watched her today, you know, very slow ball speed, but very accurate. One of the things I always say about the female bowlers is, you know, for where they don't make up with the power, they make up for the consistency and just pure shot making abilities.
Yep, Jolie was NCAA national champion in 2012, as well as a 4-time All-American.
And actually, I stand corrected. I believe she went to Farley Dickinson. Yeah, FDU.
Now a strike again on Joe's tough lane over there in lane 6. See if he can capitalize with that with another great shot here on lane 5. He can go up 20 pins with this strike. Joe Pelusic and I were talking about how you had to make great shots on this condition, and not much room for error, which is what you want. This $2,000 first place prize. You want the quality of the players to come out, and I think we're starting to see that right now.
Right. I mean, if you're watching now, you're seeing two players that are, even though they had 184 the first game, the shots they're making right now may look like the lanes are opening up a little bit, but I think it's the complete opposite. I think you're just seeing some great shot making, and fortunately there it looked like Joe might have grabbed that just a little bit on the bottom and ended up with a 4-7-10 split. You could see by his reaction, wasn't real pleased with that coming off his hand.
Well, we saw the 410 made earlier by Bobby Benton against Adam Bear in their match. That's the third split Joe has had in this match. 2 the first game, coming back to back. So he's opened twice on the left lane and once on the right.
And another pure shot.
With that, he takes a 13 pin advantage.
Benton's had a lot of recent success. He's really come a long way. I've known Bobby for a few years here, and he's worked really hard at his game. He just this past season has signed on as a regional player with Brunswick. As you can see right now, he's throwing the original mastermind.
Ooh. 4-9 again. We saw him make it early on in the second frame. Yeah, Bobby's seems to be pretty modest fella. Didn't say he had many accomplishments, but he averaged 229 in league play. And with that, he goes down 3 pins. Do you think the count was important there for Bobby? If he would have got 1, he'd only be down 1 pin?
Absolutely. In that situation there, my personal thought is this early in the game, it's you got to go for count in that situation. As it gets into the latter parts and when you need it, could be a different story.
Another difficult 3-6-10 setup for Joe Ciccone. We saw him make it in the first match.
This is probably the last spare that I'd want to see right about now. 3-6-10 for a lot of us is doesn't seem like a very hard spare, but most of us find a way to take 1 or 2 off of it a lot.
Right.
Textbook conversion there.
Yeah, I know Bobby doesn't want to see that again. He had left it. He converted it on the outside. I don't think that was planned, but whatever it takes.
Yeah, but we all like to joke. No matter how we make it, we call it textbook. So.
Two bad shots on the left lane by Joe Ciccone in the game and a half he's bowled here, but other than that, he's been pretty much perfect. Ooh, gets a
good shot, big shot there, big shot. Pretty shot there by Bobby. Seems to have that right lane pretty down pat. Seems the trick for both players here is that the left lane believe it looked like Joe may have took a little bit of a step in on that last shot and got the 10 out late, but
Have you seen many like half pocket leaves during the tournament with the harder lane condition?
oh, absolutely. And you know, with the flatness of this pattern, Daryl, you know, sometimes you can get a pretty good look to the pocket, but the angles are so critical. And you know, when a pattern like this kind of forces players in a little bit, and as the fronts start to hook a little bit and they step in, you know, ball's traveling down the lane a little bit, and it seems to be a little harder down lane to get the corners out. And you know, the real test is getting the ball through the pins correctly, because just hitting the pocket is not going to get it done.
Well, Bobby Benton now has opened twice in a row on the left lane. Puts Joe Ciccone up by 15 pins.
It's a big shot here. Can really put a grappling hook on this match here. Oh.
Wow. And again, Joe continues to struggle on the right lane. This is the third time he's going to be shooting at the 3-6-10 combination, but this time he has a 7 along with it. And this just in, congratulations to Curtis Stidd from E-Town. Bowled in your event yesterday, Jeff, but did not advance to today, and he had won the PJBT tournament down in suburban Bolorama.
Exciting stuff, good to hear. Got to watch Curtis a little bit big shot, big conversion there from Ciccone. Got to watch Curtis throw it a little bit last year as he was a high school bowler. Exciting stuff. His first PJBT title, it says on there. Yeah, he joined the field. He bowled the late squad last night. Struggled a little bit, but very good experience for the youth. And as you know, we do offer Smart in our tournaments here. Kind of helps the youth get a little antiquated with the the lanes and bowling in an environment with the adults. And that's just going to prepare them if they decide to go on to college and get into more of the team bowling aspect and just overall help the mental game a little bit, because that's one of the hardest things out here, and what separates your average players from your upper echelon guys like Ciccone and Benton, who you're getting to enjoy watch bowling right now.
Well, definitely the experience bowling in your tournament definitely helped him out today. He shot the 268 to a 244 game against Roger Harford in the finals.
Yeah, pure shot there.
I'm sure bowling in a tournament under challenging conditions aided himself today. So congratulations again, once again, to Curtis Stidd. I know I've watched Curtis bowl for the Elizabethtown High School team.
Yeah, and it definitely bowled on a tougher pattern can make a house shot loosen up the arm swing pretty good and make it feel like you have all the room in the world. Another strike on the right lane by Benton. It's been his good lane throughout this second game here.
Well, he needs to get 2 strikes here in the 10th to force Joe Ciccone to get his first strike in the 10th. Down 15 pins. Again, it's game 2 of the 2-game match. First game was a tie, 184 each for Bobby Benton and Joe Ciccone. Wow.
And right there was an example, Daryl. You could see he made that move on the left lane. Ball traveled through the front a little further. Came in a little bit behind the head pin and ended up leaving the 10 pin. Oh.
Yeah, I missed it.
That wraps it up.
Well, would have had to make Joe Ciccone show up at least in the 10th, but now match is virtually over. Joe just stays behind the foul line now.
Obviously frustrating for Bobby with a great performance, but Joe does indeed stay behind the foul line, and he is your event number 3, the 2014 Pure Pro Shop title.
Joe just going hard and straight with that one. The veteran player that he is knows all he had to do is keep the ball in the lane. Knock down 2 pins.
All right, Daryl, well, I want to thank you for having me in the booth here and for you guys coming down and offering the live stream to this event. And we're really looking forward to the Masters coming up here in about a month. And I'm going to go award this beautiful trophy from On the Ball.
Okay.
And a $2,000 payday. Thanks again.
We'll stay on and watch that trophy presentation. And then we'll have a couple words with Joe when he gets done.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
First, we're going to bring up Bobby Bent. Bobby, like qualifying, as you know, absolutely great performance. Left lane looked a little pesky there in the last three, but Bobby's going to earn himself a second place finish and a $2,000.
As we watch the second place presentation, the check $1,000 to Bobby Bent. And now the award presentation to Joe Ciccone.
A late addition to the roster here at about 9:30, 9:45 Friday night, so ended up being a very...
Joe's going to receive the $2,000 check as well as a commemorative bowling pin for part of the Pure Pro Shop event number 3 out here at Cedar Lanes in Lebanon. Well, congratulations to Joe. Yeah. Well, Joe, congratulations on winning the Pure Pro Shop event number 3, the $2,000 first place prize. I understand you were a late entry into the tournament?
Yeah, I actually gave Jeff a call on Friday night and saw the tournament and called him up, and he had openings. He said, come on down, so made the drive down, and there you have it.
Well, you averaged 231 during the qualifying, and then it looks like today the match play brackets got a little bit more difficult. The 205 game was your first 200 game in the last 4 games you bowled, but all it takes is to beat your opponent. How'd you feel about the lane pattern for this week?
Well, very pleased with the conditions. In the last couple of matches, we bowled on the fresher oil, and I kind of expected them to be a little more tricky. So my thought process was a little bit of trying to keep it in play because I was a little unsure what I had in terms of ball reaction. In the semifinal match, I played a little bit more direct and tried to kind of keep out of trouble, but in the finals I didn't really feel like that was going to work out, so I decided to try to move in a little bit and hopefully let the lanes develop and try to follow them as they did. So they developed and transitioned and just did the best I could to follow them. I think we both struggled a little bit, but that's match play.
I noticed when you bowled Jolie Carrillo, you were experimenting a little bit with different surfaces on your bowling ball. Did you stay with the same ball then after that on the fresh? Or
Yeah, I actually used basically 2 balls throughout the matches today, and the ball I used in the finals was the ball I actually used in that match against Jolie on this same pair. I believe it was on the same pair, 5 and 6, and that ball I really hadn't intended to use that as a first ball out. The other ball for me was a little bit more tame, so it kind of evened out the condition when they were fresh and they were a little bit sensitive. So I didn't really anticipate using that ball on the fresh, but I felt like that was really my only choice in this last match. So went with it, and fortunately it worked out.
Seemed like the right lane was more the trouble lane for you. You only had 2 bad shots on lane 5, but unfortunately they were both splits. But it seemed like you were fighting lane 6 throughout the 2 games.
I felt like they were both tricky, and really the biggest thing for me was that I needed to make a shot where I would let it go a little bit left to right, but in the back of my head, if I let it go a little bit left to right, it wasn't going to hook back. So a lot of my shots were left to target as a result, and there really wasn't much room error to miss either way. So I just kept trying to tell myself to make a good shot and just let it go. And a couple of them were all right, a couple of them weren't as good, but fortunately, like I said, it worked out.
How big was making the 3, 6, 7, 10 split?
I knew at that point that was a big shot, and I wasn't really sure if I wanted to hook at it or throw it straight, and I just opted for throwing it straight. I felt like it was my best chance to make it, and based on the score at the time, if I only got 2, I still would have been, I think, up by a pin, so that kind of allowed me to go at it a little more aggressively and try to make it.
Right. You were on a triple, I believe, and pretty much in control of the match, and then you went up, you left a split, I believe, on the left lane, and then Bobby Benton came back, and he followed that with a split. So just when it looked like things were going bad for you, you got the fortune of Bobby leaving the 4-9 split.
Yeah, and it was back and forth, and when they're tricky like this on a tough pattern and they're fresh, sometimes that's just the way it goes.
Well, I know a great bowler from the Buffalo area, a lot of great bowlers up there. I mentioned previously, one of the first times I saw you bowl, we crossed together, and I think you won that PBA regional. It's in the Buffalo area back probably about 15, 16 years ago.
Yeah.
So congratulations once again for winning the Pure Pro Shop tournament, event number 3. And we'd like to thank the sponsor, the Fraternal Order of Eagles Chapter 472, for their support. So once again, congratulations, Joe.
Thank you, Daryl.
And
appreciate
keep
it.
up the great bowling.
Thank you guys for your coverage as well.
Just hold it up.
Hold it up? All right, we're here.
The other side. Yeah, right there.
So you had mentioned before you had other commitments coming up too, that you're not going to do the World Series coming up, but we wish you the best in all your endeavors coming up.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Same to you guys.
Back on the tour.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you. Have it from Cedar Lanes in Lebanon, the Pure Pro Shop event number 3, sponsored by Fraternal Order of Eagles Chapter 472. In the final match, we see Joe Ciccone, 2-game match of 389, defeating Bobby Benton with his 2-game match of 362. So with that, we wish everybody a good evening, and thank you for watching this live stream broadcast.